Hi guys, I'm tamL and today I'm going to share some tips with you on how to defeat Ryth, and I'll be covering finding him and fighting him. So firstly, this is how to find Ryth in the first place, and you need to defeat one of the bosses, MX Goliath, and you'll find him in the hangar if you go straight ahead in the corridor instead of turning right to Thane and the Sky Cages. You also need to buy a solar trans weapon. Any of them will do, the light, heavy or dual version of the solar trans. When you've done both of those things, then Ryth will appear on the rebirth after this. So after you've defeated Goliath and bought the solar trans, then Ryth appears on your next rebirth. And you'll find him in the same place you found Goliath, in the hangar, and there he is pacing up and down waiting for the Duel of Fates with you. Now here's some tips on if you want to change the weapon that you use. If you don't want to use the solar trans, you tap the circle and the sword at the top at the very same time, the exact same time, and then it allows you to change your weapon, and when you return to the game you'll be straight into the fight with Ryth. And you'll see there I'm not using the solar trans. You can also change the element that Ryth is vulnerable to, and you can do this by restarting the game. He's vulnerable usually to one element each time you meet him, or if you restart the game, then as I say it will change, and you'll see there that he was vulnerable to fire, and I restarted and now he's vulnerable to water. The other way around this is if you use a spectrum or a dark fire gem, and then he's always vulnerable to that. Sometimes he has defense to all 8 elements, but the spectrum and dark fire gem will still work against him even if it says he has defense to all 8 elements. So on to fighting tips, and the first thing I do is get XP potion, the double XP potion, and also make sure you've got XP gems, preferably 2 up to 125%, because Ryth does give a lot of XP, and that's why he is worth fighting. And so here I am fighting him. You'll see the whole fight, and I've got the water. And one other thing with the solar trans, it does make your element gem much higher, 10 times the actual value. So this was a 400 water gem, and the solar trans makes it a 4000 attack. Now Ryth can seem daunting at first because he has a lot of health and his attack is very high. However, when you get used to him, his moves aren't that hard to defeat. So actually you can parry all of his moves except his kick and some of his step back moves. Like that one, you need to duck and then dodge to the left and then duck again. So I've actually got a video on my channel about Ryth step backs if you want to see closely how to avoid them. But I'm showing you here his normal moves, and I'm mainly parrying all of his moves. Usually I do dodge a lot, but I wanted to show that all his moves can be parried. He's got no shield bashes and no head butts or hand slaps. So you can parry all his moves, and the more you do him, the more you'll get used to him. And it's definitely worth trying to get used to him with dual weapons if you're playing new game, because as you go higher, he does take more and more of your shield if you're using heavy or light, and it becomes almost impossible to defeat him in high new games because one hit and your whole shield will have gone. I know some have shown him being defeated with heavy, but if you want an easier path, then get used to him with dual weapons and you'll manage to avoid his moves with dodging or parrying, and you won't have the problem of his large shield hits. Also, he can defeat you in one hit as you go higher in new games. So you need to get very familiar with these moves so that you don't get hit once whilst you fight him. And it is possible by parrying and dodging. Be careful about unregistered parries when fighting him, and that's mainly with the super circles. You need to tap in the circles very carefully, and then you're much less likely to get unregistered parries. But tapping the circles fast is what can cause the unregistered parries if you miss the circle. So there he is defeated, and you see there he gave me 16 million XP points, and I only had 1 gem. And make sure with your equipment that you have enough mastery on it to absorb all those points, and then you'll go up a lot of levels like I just did. I went up 4 levels, and I can go up about 6 or 7 levels usually with 2 XP gems. And don't forget the large chest after the fight. If you look to your left, you can't open it before the fight. So I hope that helped give you some tips on defeating Ryth. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, comment and subscribe to Infinity Blade Masters and my own channel, tamLChannel. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.